But it is what it is, you know?
Yeah, it
Wakisema wakinsist sawa.
It is what it is. Hashtag Morning Fix, where we run the show. And of course, we can't run the show without you. Thank you so much for the comments known up on social media. Right now, we're just about to crown the topic that is on climate and all matters affecting human beings when it comes to climate change. And of course, we have Esther Mutuma from Baraka Group, who's just giving us insight upon insight on and off air and recommendations as well. And I'd like to just talk about the gender question. Why is it that your group is actually women-based, and why is it that you've decided to go that direction? Because we've seen so many groups concentrating on women. Does it mean that sisi wanaume mmetuacha nje? Ama what's your recommendation?
Aseli, I'm a woman, so definitely by default.
Yeah.
But the reality is the group that gets most affected by the climate change related issues is actually women and youth and children, because, you know, there's a lot of impacts that climate change has on women, because if you think about rural community setups, who goes to do the if the river's dry, who is stranded as to where they're going to get their water from? So really, women are at the forefront of this, because for us, they are like the bigger constituent insofar as the impact is on them. And so we definitely want to focus a lot on that. Not that we don't work with men, because remember again, who owns the land? Remember, we are using land to create nature-based solutions. The men that own the land. So the men have to give permission to the women to till the land, plant the trees and so on. So we approach it from the entire family unit, but more focused on the women, because of course it's the women that are actually left at home to till the land and do a lot of the manual work. Absolutely. And of course, the impact is a lot more on them.
Yes.
And they worry more about the future generations. We worry about our children, what's going to happen, what type of a planet are we leaving them for future, where are they going to live if there's no water, if we have a lot of droughts, no food, and so on.
Yeah. As a final maybe quote to sum up the conversation, what would be your call to action, or is there any player in this climate game that you want to talk to directly right now?
Yeah. Aseli and Mariam, the thing is, there's been so much talk, and nobody is walking the talk, in the sense that a lot of players are trying to showcase that they're doing it, but they're actually not doing it. We've seen situations in this country where people do tree planting, PR exercises. They take really nice pictures and post them on their social media, and it ends there. And my call to action is, let us work with so let's build on strategic partnerships with people whose core business is growing trees, for instance. Let's get into that partnership, because we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Nation, for instance, if they wanted to do good sustainability, they can work with partners who are actually doing it on the ground. And that goes for the entire private sector in this country. We know we are leaders in this part of the world, especially in Africa, on things like telcos, our M-Pesas, innovation. We've seen that for many years, the financial markets were very, structured in a way that was leaving out and marginalizing a lot of the communities, until the likes of the Equity Bank came and changed the story. So really, we know that it's very possible to easily innovate within this space and work together to actually bring change, the much needed change. We don't need to wait to beg the West or the global North to give us resources, when the most critical resource that we need for this conversation is land. And we have the land. And we've been placed on the southern parts of the hemisphere. We have the sun shining on us 12 hours every day. We grow the trees, they grow very fast because of where we are geographically. Let's take advantage of that for our renewable resources, for everything else that we do. But most importantly and most critically, we have the land. They say land plus labor is equals to productivity. So when we put the land, we put the labor, which we also do have. We have a lot of unemployment for the youth. We can actually use that as an advantage. Then we create commodity, we become productive. We have commodities to take to the market. Carbon in this case becomes our bargaining chip, because we have something to offer the world. And the world can take that, and we become partners. We're not begging. We are equal partners, because we're providing something substantive as the African continent. So for me, it's really the private sector needs to step up. The private sector in Africa needs to step up. These conversations around billions of dollars are good, but the action on the ground needs to be as localized as possible for this impact to actually be felt.
I love what you've said. If we can bank the unbanked, we can definitely plant a few million trees. Thank you so much for spending the morning with us. We have Makofika Olomide. Thank you so much for spending the morning with us, Esther. Please feel free to come back. Of course, we have to get back into the music, but we'll continue this conversation online at Nation FM KE, at Mariam Bishar,
at Brand_Aseli. In the next hour, Music Machine itakuwa. But of course, our guest pia anafaa kutuambia tunampata aje social media.
Yes.
Social media, kuna Boreka Group.
Yes.
Tuko Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, kila mahali. Esther Mutuma is the household name in the Matters Climate, so you can find me on social media as well.
Alrighty. We've got Yaman Yuna Arsenali by Dragon and Fracas. That was a request by a one and only Drevis. I hope I'm getting that name right, but let me get it properly.
But kusema tu kweli, kati Yaman Yuna Arsenali.
Ni Davis Ngaira,
according to Sunday. Ni nani wakali?
Sorry, I have to cut you off.
Tusiargue, we mtu wa Man U, usini cut off.